Hello, in this video, we're going to see a problem from graph, that too scatter plot. Let's first read the problem. The relative housing cost for a US city is defined to be the ratio average housing cost for the city divided by national average housing cost, expressed as a percent. The scatter plot shows the relative housing cost and the population density for several large US cities in the year 2005. The line of best fit is also shown and as the equation y equals 0.0125 plus 61. Which of the following best explains how the number 61 in the equation relates to the scatter plot? This is a relatively hard problem, and the best way to answer this one would be to eliminate answer choices which are definitely not the answer and try to get to the correct answer. Let's look at the answers one by one. In 2005, the lowest housing cost in the US was about $61 per month. First, we need to understand what they're asking is in the line of best fit, you have something plus 61. So they're asking what is that 61 with respect to the scatter plot which they are given. So the first choice is in 2005, the lowest housing cost in the US was about $61 per month. This obviously is not the right answer. The reason is they're talking about $61 per month. In the average formula or in the scatter plot or anywhere, there is no reference for cost per month. It's always in the expressed as a percentage and not in dollars. So definitely A is not the answer. Choice B, in 2005, the lowest housing cost in the US was about 61% of the highest housing cost. Again, this is also not the correct answer because they are talking about 61% of the highest housing cost. Nowhere in the problem or in the graph they have talked about highest housing cost. So choice B also is eliminated. C, in 2005, even in cities with low population densities, housing costs were never below 61% of the national average. So we look at the graph, it talks about 61, and if you see the population and that density is lowest, so this kind of falls into the category of maybe this is an answer. So we will keep that as a possible answer. Let's look at D. In 2005, even in cities with low population densities, housing costs were likely at least 61% of the national average. Okay, so this is also a likely answer. So now we have C and D, which looks like a good choice of answer, but only one of them is correct. So now we need to pick one of the answer. And here I would go with D, and I'll explain the reason why I'm going with choice D. In C, it says in 2005, even in cities with low population densities, housing costs were never below 61%. So in statistics, normally when you say any graph or when you plot some scatter plot graph, you never say never, because there is no guarantee that it would have never been. There could be some housing costs that were below 61%. There is no guarantee for those type of answer. So you need to get the exact data from all the US cities to know that it was never below the national average. Here, if you see, they have mentioned housing costs were likely at least. So based on what they have given here, and it starts around 61 here, the answer would be likely that the density was 61% of the national average. So that's how I'm picking choice D as the answer and not C, because it definitely says it was never below 61%. And normally by looking at a scatter plot graph, you cannot come to that conclusion. Okay, so I'm going to go with choice D as the correct answer, and that's how we solve this problem. See you in the next video. Bye.